New Zealand rugby has gone backwards since South Africa left Super Rugby. That's the view of a former All Black, an opinion I happen to share. And today you are going to get a front row seat as I delve into what was said, why I concur, and describe how Kiwi rugby could be in big trouble going forward. All Blacks great and now TV commentator Murray Mexted says New Zealand players have got worse since we left to join the URC. The effect of that has also meant that Scottish, Italian, Welsh and Irish players have improved. And yes, it might not be obvious just yet, i.e. Wales, but over time you will see improvements. And again, not necessarily in all of them, but I think you get my point. A reminder of how this all came about. In 2020, during the COVID lockdowns, Super Rugby was first postponed and then cancelled. The tournament was then reinvented. So for example, the South African teams played only against each other and it was called Super Rugby Unlocked. The New Zealand sides also only played against each other, for example. But that was also their cue to basically kick us out of Super Rugby. Let's be very clear about this. South Africa didn't leave Super Rugby, New Zealand and Australia chased us out. And that's one of the reasons I have zero sympathy for them. I don't want to hear about how they miss us, or how they want us back, or how their players need to come up against our physicality regularly between February and July in order to make the All Blacks, and to a lesser extent the Wallabies, better prepared for the Rugby Championship. Boo-hoo. Cry me a river. The fact is that the travel and time differences worked heavily against South Africa. It is well documented that travelling east messes with your body clock. Travelling west is considerably easier. So the travelling doesn't actually balance out. It is always a net positive for the Kiwis and the Aussies, and a net negative for us. Okay, but I'm sure you'd like to know what Mexted had to say. Here it is. We've got to look at our own competition here. It's terrible losing the South African teams. We lose something down under when the South Africans play in the Northern Hemisphere, and the Northern Hemisphere gains something. So they gain a stronger competition because you've got to beat those South African sides. The average player gets better, and it's the same thing in reverse in New Zealand. I don't think we can carry on with the present format. I think we need to introduce something else from the Pacific Ocean. Interesting what Mexted said there about what the Northern Hemisphere sides gain. I actually sat on a flight a while ago with a URC team. I won't tell you who the team was, but one of the players was a Kiwi, and I asked him about the differences between Super Rugby and the URC. He told me they're both very tough, but the difference is probably the South African teams. When we were in Super Rugby, that was better than the URC. Now that we are in the URC, that is stronger than Super Rugby. And that's coming from a professional player who has played in Super Rugby as well as in the URC. Mexted is not the only ex-All Black who feels this way, by the way. Stephen Donald, Israel Dag and Nonu have also expressed a desire to have us back. Here's what Nonu told a podcast. I think the top 14, that's the French league remember, edges Super Rugby 2 notches. For one, you've got the best players in the world in that competition. I hadn't mentioned the Prem and the URC because I haven't played there, but I would say they come second and third, or maybe second equal. Super Rugby is still good footy. Footy is what the New Zealanders sometimes use as a nickname for rugby, because you've got the Australian and Kiwi players, but they haven't got the exposure to all the other players from other countries. South Africa have hit the jackpot. They left because of Sanzar, but their teams have gotten better and better. The Stormers played the first year in the URC and won the competition. Super Rugby's maybe suffering. I don't know how long it's going to be around. The level's still there, but I believe the top 14 is ahead. So there you have it, folks. Not just my potentially biased opinion, but actual All Blacks saying that their rugby is going backwards because we are not part of Super Rugby anymore. Now, there is a part of me that wants to say, long may it continue. I'm not interested in assisting New Zealand with their rugby. They are our rivals, our greatest and fiercest rivals. And to be sure, it's the greatest rivalry in rugby and one of the best rivalries in all of sport. I love it. I love the tension of a Springboks-All Blacks test match.
Next carry just a metre short, and Williams!
Nothing compares to it. I respect this rivalry. I respect this rivalry so much that I do not want to give them an inch.
But then Marks with ball in hand. On the floor there. Gets away!
And the reality is that South Africa brought the bulk of the TV audience to Super Rugby. But the monies were not split proportionately. What that in effect meant is that we were bankrolling the All Blacks and the Wallabies. And I'm sorry, but I'm not interested in doing that. Not one bit. They can finance themselves. And to that end, they're in trouble. The All Blacks private equity deal is not a good one. And their main jersey sponsor, Ineos, has also withdrawn. So bleak times ahead for New Zealand, perhaps. That said, I don't want to see them fall from grace, like say the West Indies did in cricket, or Uruguay in football. Uruguay won 2 of the first 4 World Cups and have won 15 Copa Americas. But even the staunchest fan in Montevideo will tell you their team has virtually no chance of winning the World Cup these days, or ever again. And also, don't forget, we get more TV revenue ourselves by playing in the URC and the Champions Cup. Don't forget that that money is coming to us as pounds and euros, not rands. And we're not leeching either, because we actually contribute a significant TV audience. Our numbers would be similar to England and France. So believe me when I tell you, they like having us there. So what do you think? Do you think leaving Super Rugby was a mistake? Perhaps we should go back. Or maybe you like the fact that the Kiwis miss us, want us back, but have no choice but to fend for themselves. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And while you're down there, why not help me out with a super thanks? I'd love to do this full time and make even more videos for you. I'd also love to go to Australia in 2027 and cover the Rugby World Cup for you from down under on a daily basis. But in order to make that happen, I'll need some support. Super thanks is the heart button with a $sign inside of it. You'll be able to make a highlighted comment and I promise to reply. I will also hit the love button on your comment. You'll also have the opportunity to make a donation to my channel of your choice. It can be 10 Rand, it can be 10,000 Rand, or even 10 million Rand. And if you used to work at Eskom and you got a lack of payout, then you know what to do. If you're not yet ready to support me in that manner, you can also just crock roll the regular like button, and you can also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. Something else that has got the Kiwis worried is how to deal with our bomb squad. Well, to that end, I made a video about how they are thinking about creating their own bomb squad. You can go watch that video over here. And if you're watching this on the 5th of June, then as it turns out, today is Tim Glulani's birthday. I did an exclusive interview with Tim about his short Springbok career, and he tells us all about how he fulfilled that lifelong ambition in this video over here. And I'll speak to you next time.